If you've been doing all of the right things on paper, but something still feels off, there's low energy, you feel disconnected, feel like you're going through the motions on autopilot, this is why I created the Purpose Rewire system. I'm going to share with you a bit of a journey as to why this exists. Because the disconnection that you're feeling, the low fulfillment, the burnout, it doesn't come overnight. And there'll be parts of what I share with you today that you see in yourself right now. And then there's going to be parts of you parts of this that you will notice is like, this is what could happen if you don't make a change, if you don't put in the work. So this is the Purpose Rewire. This is why it exists. I'm going to talk about young Joggy first, because everything that I experienced 20, 30 years on stems back to so many of the things that young Joggy picked up along the way. I became hyper aware of my surroundings, of my environments, constantly when I was a little kid. And I would adapt all of my actions, my emotions, my personality to suit the needs of others. And when something or someone isn't stable around me, I would try and fix the situation. Whether it's something that I needed to fix, whether it's something that I even had the capability to fix, or even the responsibility to, I would try and fix everything. And becoming hyper aware of those feelings, it gave me this like sixth sense. So I could walk into a room and I could feel energy. I could experience the emotion of what other people were going through without a word being spoken. And in doing so, I just learned to shut down my own feelings, because I actually felt at that point that staying quiet and going under the radar represented safety, and being the person that other people needed from me also represented safety and love. I also learned really early on only to share the wins that were perfect, that were the 100%. If I got 10 out of 10 in a test, then I'll tell everyone. If I only got 8 out of 10, then I would avoid telling anybody, because I didn't want the uncomfortable conversations and questions around, well, where were the other 2 marks? I noticed that achievement and success meant love. Perfect behavior meant love. Meeting other people's expectations and standards, that meant love. But anything below that was met with shame, with guilt and punishment. Stay with me, because this is going somewhere. Recognizing the needs of others above my own, paired with the thought process that I had to be perfect all of the time, meant that anything, below perfect would take a hold of me. If I couldn't be 100%, if I couldn't be 10 out of 10, then I felt like I wasn't enough, that I'm not good enough. And when I made mistakes, I would beat myself up over it. And I also learned that my inner critic was constantly at me as well. So even if I made a mistake and I learned from that mistake, instead of being like, wow, that's growth, that's amazing, that's development, that's progress, I would go into this mode of, well, what the hell is wrong with me? I should have known better in the first place. And to be honest, all of this, it sounds bizarre, but it was brilliant for me. It meant that I could fit in almost anywhere. I could fit in with everyone, because I knew how to adapt to what people needed me to be. It wasn't great for my own identity and connection to self. It wasn't great for my own self-esteem and self-worth, but I could always wear a mask really, really well. And people said to me, it doesn't matter what you do in life. Whatever you choose to do, you're going to be very successful. Because I could mold myself around the expectations of others. And I didn't stop working at things until I became great at it. Case in point was with maths. When I was young, I could not do a maths sum to save my life. I would be crying and get so emotional. And then I got into GCSE sixth form and I got some of the best grades in my school, because I would just keep going. I would keep going, apply myself until I felt like I was good enough. It wasn't fulfilling. It certainly wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't something that I was connected to at all, which again is part of the process, part of why it drives the burnout, the disconnection. But also for me, I didn't just want the brains. I wanted the strength and the status that came with that too. I wanted to look a certain way because for me that meant strength. But unfortunately, that was just another mask for me to hide behind, a really, really powerful mask for me to hide behind, because people didn't want to talk to me when I looked like that. I could be on my own. I could look like I had it all together. And that's what it was. I looked amazing on the outside. Everything looked good on the outside. But inside I was depressed. I was anxious. And I had a relationship with alcohol that was life altering because it consumed me. It consumed my relationships, my family, friendships, my studies, my work. Everything was impacted. And all of this stemmed from me being everything for everyone and very little for myself. What looked like a lot of fun on the outside, what looked like a guy that had it all together, I was always questioning myself, always feeling unsettled, always uneasy. And whilst I could just fit in anywhere, and I call this the art of fitting in, I felt more lost than ever. I knew early on that something needed to change drastically. And I did promise myself over and over again, I will change, I will turn this around. But I never did. We say these things, right? We say at the start of the year, I'm going to get into good shape this year. I'm going to get into the best shape of my life this year. And a few weeks in, we've forgotten all of the promises that we made to ourselves. I was the same. I was always breaking promises to myself. And that's the best way to learn not to trust yourself. That's also the best way to show that you don't care about yourself. And it destroys your self-worth and self-esteem and self-efficacy as well. I'd give it a really good go for a few weeks, but then I'd follow that up with some absolutely awful situations. And this is one of them. One day, it all came to a head. I felt like it was too much. I'd let so many people down. I was depressed, I was anxious, and I tried to take my own life. And to this day, I just don't understand the physics of what happened that allowed me to survive that. But I did survive that, and it was a turning point. And that was when I started to lean into this fact that if anything was going to change, it had to be me. I had to step into that change. I had to be in the driver's seat of this. And that's when I started to learn about my mind, mental well-being, emotional regulation, values, trying to align my life to the authentic version of me. Even discovering that authentic version of me was work in itself. And I wanted a life that felt fulfilled for me, not for everybody else, not to please others, not to get validation from others. And that's what I found. I found a purpose in my life that went far and beyond anything that I could have ever dreamed of. And I didn't stop. 16 years now it's been, and I've been learning, adapting, noticing like my limiting beliefs where they hold me back, leaning into new skills, new tools, mentors, spiritual teachers, breath work, meditation, psychologists. And I'm still on this path to develop the skills and the tools so that I can help myself, but also pass it along to the people that are really willing to become the best versions of themselves. And that's what this is all about, helping you step into your true potential. I wonder sometimes what would have happened if I didn't do the work, because I've gone through so many life stages. And each life stage, as you will know, watching this, comes with adjustments. It will come with challenges. It will come with new obstacles that you need to work with. But what I learned through the work that I've done on myself is I work with those challenges. I work with the obstacles rather than pushing it down or kicking the can down the lane, burying my head under the sand. I work with them, because when you do it that way, you actually bring magic to each step that you go through. You don't get buried by it. And this is the thing. If I hadn't done the work, I question whether I'd be here right now. I know that I wouldn't be the husband and the father I am today. I know I'd probably be wearing a mask of some sorts. It might be the bodybuilder mask, the one that looked really scary, but actually felt terrified inside. I wonder if maybe the old coping strategies would come in, or maybe they would have got worse. Maybe the next thing would have come in, the food, the alcohol, the drugs, the quick fixes, things that ease the pain in the moment, but actually make life so much harder every single day. And this is the thing, all of this, it has a real impact on you. And what starts as, small feelings, the small feelings of not being fulfilled at the end of the day, wondering if there's more to life, feeling like you're on a hamster wheel, those small feelings and thoughts that are going through your mind, they can become a full-blown crisis if you don't meet it with the readiness to bring awareness to why you're in the situation. If you're not ready to understand and to learn, then what happens is frustration and anger that we can feel, when a boundary is crossed at work or with family, that becomes irritability with our children or our partners. The sadness and isolation that comes with knowing you're fulfilling all of your duties in life, you're providing, you're protecting, you're nurturing, but at the end of the day, you're exhausted, feeling like you're on this hamster wheel, coasting, burning out, noticing that you're relying on quick fixes, more caffeine, snacks to pick you up, sugar fixes, the drinks at the end of the week to wind down, scrolling on your phone just to escape, late nights so that you feel like you've got a little bit of me time at the end of the day. All of those things are just crutches to help you cope. And now you can see the negative influence that they actually have on you. But for some reason, even though you try, you can't shift those habits anymore. These things, it's not going to happen quickly, but slowly, it's eroding the areas of your life that actually have the biggest impact on you. Your family, your relationships, your social life, your health, your finances, and the person you always forget to think about as well. They're really, really struggling right now. That person is you. So I'm going to ask you a question. This exact question was once asked of me. We're at a crossroads right now. What version of you are you going to choose? Am I going to be a guy that abandons my potential, sees in himself what he could be capable of, but chooses quick fixes and short-term comfort instead? Like living life in autopilot, blissfully unaware of the work that can be put in that would make each day feel promising, connected and fulfilled? Or am I going to be that person that goes down the other route, learns, brings awareness to each day, builds a life around values and identity and lives with purpose? Because that choice is yours. And that's what I'm offering here, an opportunity to explore this fully. And all I need from you, all I need is for you to make a commitment to follow each step that I take you through with your heart open and a readiness to grasp this opportunity with both hands. This was my journey, and next up what I'm going to talk you through is the specific situations that I see people that we've supported and helped, and how the Purpose Rewire has given them the ability to break free from all of the chains that were holding them back.